So you want to trade gold? Well, I'm an index trader myself, usually ES and NQ, but I took a look at the gold chart because somebody in my comment section, hey, Forrest, can you talk about gold? And here I am now talking about it. For those of you new here, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff I think that everybody should too. I am a day trader. I trade futures, been trading futures for a long time now. I trade futures with prop firms more recently. Even before prop firms were a whole special shebang. Been trading options for a long time. You look at my old videos, I have multiple six-figure trades that are, out there documented, things like that. In this video, I'm gonna do a little bit of TA on gold, talk about how you can start trading gold, maybe in a prop account. If you want to start trading, I know there's a lot of Forex traders out there looking for a new home, and you guys are really familiar with commodities and things like that for whatever reason. You guys are just infatuated with things like gold instead of indexes. Well, I'm not against trading it. I actually saw a pretty interesting setup that I want to talk about in this video on the 4-hour chart. So let's not waste too much more time. But one more time wasting thing, please join my Discord if you want a new trading home. We're more like a trading pod than a call out server, right? So we just trade live. We talk about our trades and our strategy. So if you want to follow along with real traders and learn from real traders, that's our shtick. Again, we're not a call out server or something like that. We're just real traders trading and sharing our knowledge as we go along. Personally, I love helping people learn how to trade. It's one of my primary passions. I think that trading is a way that you can leverage your time to unlock asymmetric outcomes for yourself and your family, replace a car payment, reduce your mortgage, just have better financial security for you and your future and your family, no matter where you are in life. All you need is a screen, whether it's on your phone, laptop, and you can earn additional income for yourself if you're willing to put in the very, very hard and consistent work to make it happen. In any case, the link down to our community trade edge is below. And for all of March, there's 20% off your first month using code MARCHDIFF, MARCHDIFF. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is going to be a very honest TA video because I looked at this for 5 minutes before filming this. And that was kind of my intention. I wanted to kind of, do some technical analysis because I always do it on the weekends anyways, kind of going into the market. I spread it out over Saturday. First, I journal on Friday after the session. Saturday, I like to take a look. I have some preliminary thoughts. I jot things down. Today's Saturday, and then tomorrow I'll do the same thing again, and I kind of develop my thesis over the weekend. I actively try to flip and alternate bias. This is just something I do. It's not super like a process. It's just something I mentally do. I always say, what if my bias is wrong? And then I try to form an opposite bias, and then I really, really don't try to have an opinion about the market until Sunday night. So let's do some of that on gold here. If you're not familiar with TradingView, that's the tool that's on the screen right now. It's a charting tool. You can trade through it, right? You can see there's a trading panel here. If you want to start trading through a prop firm, you can sign up for My Funded Futures. They're kind of my firm, a recommended firm of choice. My second firm of choice would be Apex Trader Funding, right? I have 20 accounts with them. I've been trading them for a long time. You can get discounts for both of those by using code FORCETRADING. It's down in the description, which is FORCETRADING. And if you want a news trade, of course, use Purdia. Shout out to the Purdia folks. Really communicative team over there, by the way. Love those guys. So this is TradingView. The volume profile. This is the visible range volume profile. It is essentially an anchored volume profile. If you're not familiar with the volume profile, go watch that video. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. We're just going to use it. I have an in-depth video on how to read the volume profile. So we have a shelf here. We have a shelf here. My mouse went a little crazy there. Shelf here, and then there's a little node here. Obviously, we're way up here. This is a low value area in here. So in terms of the price action that I would expect to come through here, if we come down, is I would expect us to come down to this node down here. Do an Alt or Option J, 2092.6 would be my downside target. You can see that there's a lot of imbalance here. Other traders that enjoy marketing things would call this, fair value gap, whatever type of gap it is. As a price action trader, I believe in auction theory, which isn't really a theory. It's more so just, hey, what's the actual activity in the market? We know that there's a lot of participation here as shown by the volume profile, right? This histogram, this is volume of activity. So a lot of people are up here. There's very few people down here. So what happens if you do an auction, a double-sided auction, which is the market with not that much participation? Well, the price is going to move quickly, right? Because you have somebody who's playing over here, you got somebody who's playing over there versus everybody playing right here. Does that make sense? That's a short version of auction theory. What happens once we get to another area where there's a lot of participation, right? We will either start to wrap around it or we will immediately bounce off of these shelves. Either way, I would expect this to be a support. We're not going to fly through this level is the key here. So regardless of what we do here, what we're not going to do here is fly through it. Okay. That's my expectation, at least. Again, the market is an auction, so it can do anything because people are, buying and selling. But we're playing poker. We're always playing poker in the market, right? We're looking at probabilities, and what's most probable is that if we came down to here, we would bounce. So let's write that thesis down. This is a long area here. Okay. What about what we have up here right now? Okay. So we have this very clear triple bottom that's formed here. This is technically almost like a pennant shape here. The thing that I really want to figure out here on this 4-hour chart, though, is where is the volume? So we had a high volume red, one high volume red here. Let's look at this red, higher volume red. This is a high volume bottom wick on the 4-hour. And then the next down candles or red candles were all higher volume as well. So the key here is we had one bounce. This is a low volume bounce here. So first touch, so low volume touch, okay, on this touch. And then the second touch was high volume rejection on the retest. Okay. And the third touch is happening now. Third, that's not what we wanted. We want third retest, we'll say, is happening now. So it's Saturday, so it's not happening right now when the market opens on Sunday. We will see. There's something called like you're tapping on glass, right? You keep tapping on it, tap, 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 right? What happens if you keep tapping on the glass? Eventually it'll break. So a possible thesis, a downside thesis here, and this is actually how I think about the market, is that this will crack this level here. If we crack this level here, there's a few nearby nodes that we could look for. Let me get the arrow tool. There's this LVN right here, which we could see as a near-term target, a 28.5, very, very thinly traded right there, which is, looks about halfway down to that price. If we do our fib tool from the low to the high, let's get some estimations on the fib. There's some confluence with the 0.5 fib. It's not on top of each other, but it's pretty close to this long area. And there's also some confluence, the 0.382 fib here with this bounce. So I do like these areas in terms of some confluence. So let's mark that up. So there's fib confluence here. And I'm not going to mark up which fib level it is. It actually doesn't matter, in my opinion. Okay. And we're just looking for confluence. I'm a very technical trader, guys. So I'm just looking for lines that match up. Then I'm going to look for volume and candle setups to give me some more intuition about which direction it'll actually go based off of these levels. So we have that level here. Let's go to the 1 day. Let's zoom out even further. Shelves are the same. Obviously here, looking back a little bit further, we can see that we're in this kind of very macro range up here, actually. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of these lines here. On the macro, we have this very big trend line right there on the daily. And on the bottom side, do we have a clean trend line here? Let's see what we have on the bottom on the daily. We have this trend line on the daily, which goes back even further, it looks like. Let's go to the weekly. See what we have here. Yeah, retest of these prices up here, right? So we just did a rounding out of this area here. It's wedging, it's tapping up on this level here. And one of the questions you can ask yourself when you're doing technical analysis is, which way is, what is price action that I've seen before, right? Would it be weird if we suddenly did a big candle like this after this price action? And would it be weird if we did a big move like this after seeing this price action? Just ask yourself that question. Would it be weird? After you've done a lot of chart time, you'll start to notice shapes and patterns that make sense. And you can stop yourself from, doing bad breakout trades, reversion trades, or really any trade. If you just ask yourself, would this be a weird formation? Does it need to consolidate more? For the move that I'm expecting, does it need to consolidate even more for it to actually make that move? Am I looking for something I've never seen before? It's a really simple but powerful question, especially if you're doing a lot of technical analysis, because it can save you some headache. So let's zoom in on the weekly. I want to use the visible range volume profile on the weekly, going from this last pivot to here. Big LVN down here at 1854. The last time we were at this price was September of 23, which is not too long ago, honestly, right? So this is the September 2023 LVN and pivot. Look for a long here. Okay, a retest here. So I'll look for a long here on the macro. I'm just doing straight up TA on this guys, just charting trade ideas and thesis overall. On the upside, we're in price discovery mode. In terms of price discovery for futures, there's an interesting thing that I do on SPX, right? When I'm looking at SPX, you can get intuition about what's above us due to the option chain. We can look at volume on options, open interest on options above us, and actually tell us where we're going to bounce, even though we're at all-time highs, which is really, really cool. It's a really, really powerful tool. We use it daily in the Discord, do gamma trades on it. It's an advanced level of trading, this layering on option analysis in futures. I'll have to look. I honestly don't know off the top of my head if there are derivatives for gold. There probably are that would give us intuition about above us when we're near all-time highs. Okay. Obviously, the volume profile is going to be very, very thin above the highest price because there's nothing there. People haven't had time to participate at these prices, and it's obviously going to be much thicker below us, right? So I'm going to get rid of some of these things that we don't need. We don't need this shape here. That was just for the video. I actually do intend to use this chart this week. So my opinion on gold here, and I'm really going to look for two things when the market opens. I want to see, do we gap down? Do we gap down with volume on open? If we do gap down with volume on open, very, very likely we're going to get a continuation downside. Okay, and it's a strong signal that they want to bring this thing down and that we broke the glass. They'll probably retest the glass and they'll continue lower on the gap down. If we bounce here, I'm going to look for this topside trend line. Very, very simple. Okay, I'm going to look for this, right? I would look for this trend line here at 2172, whatever this is, right? I'd look for something in this side of the shape. I look for a continuation of the shape. If we crack the highs here, I'd be looking for a retest of this area and a retest of this area before I did anything. Just talking about shapes that we've seen before. It would not be uncommon for this thing to go like this and do an M. Okay, so don't expect that it's going to just crack here. We want to look for volume and things on the lower time frames to confirm our thesis here. Because I've seen this shape a few times play out both ways. I'm not going to, the market's not even open right now. I'm not going to get into a trade early. Okay, I'm just not. I'm going to be very, very patient, watch for the lowers and see what we get here. If I had to have a bias, I would say I'm downside biased on gold right here. I'm not, and that's purely based off of just volume and price analysis. And I'm comfortable with saying that and being wrong on macro thesis because I just mentioned I have two theses here, right? So if we bounce, if we support here, my price target on a long would be either here at the beginning of the shape 2192 or up here at 2209. That's why I'm okay with my bias being wrong. It only matters if I'm right or wrong when I have risk on. I say this all the time in the Discord, on the internet. People love be like, oh, you said this, you said that, I said this, I said that. It's like, okay, but when did you put your money where your mouth is? There are many, many times where our thesis is wrong live and we just call it out and say, hey, we're wrong. And we're flipping trade and we'll just call it. And we're like, hey, obviously this thesis failed, which means the market's going to go the other way, right? If I thought it's going down and I get confirmation it's not going down, well, it's going up. So I'm going to go long, which is why you should always have an up and a downside thesis based off of magnets in the auction, okay? Because it's going to go to those magnets one way or the other. As far as the shape goes, it's not strong enough, in my opinion, for me to have intuition about where it wants to go. I will say this, the volume of all of this shape here was a session. Just from here to here was a session. We could see that the POC would be like down here. Okay, this would be VAH, this would be VAL. POC would be down here. POC is lower, it's bearish, right? The auction is pulling it lower. It's literally pulling it lower. Okay, so I'm downside bearish, not downside bearish. I'm downside biased as far as this setup goes, but we'll see. You can also see here, when we did touch this, we had a strong top wick, but we have strong bottom wicks here as well. Very, very strong top wick when we came to 2201. Again, very high highs in the market. As far as trading this to pass, gold is tick value is 0.1, right? Or the tick amount is 0.1 and tick value is $10. Off the top of my head, pretty sure that's right. So there's a lot of opportunity here. If we went to short from here, we went short from here to here, that's 67 points, which is 673 ticks, which is $6,730. That's a good amount of money. So it's a big point value, I would say. So if you're new to futures, I would almost recommend trading MES or MNQ. This is my ES chart, which looks crazy right now because I haven't cleaned it up yet from my intraday kind of stuff here. There's some notes from another video I just did. Or we can just actually just switch over to the MNQ chart. MNQ, June. You see these are in the 18,000s. 1 point is worth $2 and tick is even smaller than that, but each point is worth $2. NQ, go to the NQ chart, NQ. Here, 1 point is worth $20. Gold is, I think gold could be a little big for a new trader. So just keep that in mind if you just started trading futures. Regardless of what you trade though, do this analysis. Do analysis on the higher time frames. Start on the 4 hour at least. All right, don't do 15 minute, 30 minutes. Start on the 4 hour, do the daily, look at weekly, come up with some macro targets. Because when you're zoomed in on the 5 minute, you're going to lose sight. Like there's people trading and their screen looks like this. You can't even see the lines. You can't even see the macro, but this is literally, and they're here and they're waiting for it to like retest this high. But it's like, you need the bigger picture. Like, you really need to see where we are in context of the entire auction and where players are, so you don't get fooled by, you know, all these small changes on the lower time frames, right? You 100% need to do that, whether you're trading gold, oil, indexes, whatever it is, equities. You know, do your TA on the higher time frames first. That's it for this video, guys. I hope that was useful. Kind of showed you my process for just lining up the charts. It's very, very simple. It's very, very straightforward. You know, my strategy over the years has gotten more simplified in terms of how I draw my lines and just think about, you know, effort and momentum. A lot of the complexity is in layering these components together, right? So layering in the shapes that I see with the time of day, with the volume profile on the session, right? POC, as the POC shifts from the high to the low, what does that mean, right? Well, it means the auction is down. How does that account for open interest that might, you know, exist on an index? So then what do I expect for the daily close to be, right? If we're moving lower and I expect for the day to close on a doji, well, then I know that we need to move higher later before the close. Is there any other targets higher, right? That's where the complexity comes in. But all of these levels will show up within that narrative for sure on the day. And that's how you start to piece those together. Subscribe to my channel. Join us in Discord. I'd love to have you. There's a 1-week free trial. So there's literally no risk there. And with that, see you in the next video. Deuces.